Now, Quantum Foods is facing a legal challenge from its former director, who's accused the poultry producer of firing her after she asked to see a legal opinion in connection with the Bremer. Bremer is the company's second largest shareholder and had requested a meeting where it would seek the removal of certain directors from the animal feeds, poultry and egg group. So how did this boardroom war end up in court? Editor for Financial Mail, Marc Hasenfuss, joins us now with a greater detail. Marc, always a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, Marc, this is quite a shake-up. Maybe talk to us about, please, what happened here, that this matter would land up also in a sneaky sense that most people would have missed, as you would have pointed out in the article.
Yeah, I suppose one wouldn't pay attention to a resignation of a director, and especially one that was wished well in her new endeavours, seemed all pretty innocuous, to be honest. Then court papers were filed, which kind of came to my attention, where the director in question, which is Tanya Golden, who is a legal eagle herself, said she didn't resign, but was more or less forced out by certain members of the board. And she's challenging this so-called removal in court, which is going to be, I think, fairly interesting because, if you've got to find out why she was given the nudge. That could be quite important in the days ahead. She certainly has ideas why, but officially we don't know why.
Has she shared what her ideas were? Of course, allegedly.
Yeah. So she infers in the court papers that if you go back to March this year, Braemar, which you mentioned earlier, is one of the biggest shareholders, called for a shareholder meeting, which it has a right to do. It's a large shareholder. It's certainly got enough shares to call a shareholder meeting. But I think the words used by Sovereign, I'm getting my chicken companies mixed up, by Quantum, where it wasn't legally compliant. But no reasons given why it was not legally compliant. So that shareholders meeting wasn't called. It seems like Ms. Golden questioned that and wanted to get the legal opinion, which was then never provided. And she continued to question and pester them about this. And she thinks that was one of the reasons why they decided to push her out. She did mention a pretty heated board meeting at one stage where they sat and they had she said she'd never experienced anything like that at the company, 5 years there. So obviously things got quite heated about that.
One thing we've learned here, of course, Marc, is that we don't ignore governance red flags. I think we've had our fair share here in South Africa. I'm wondering here if, from your perspective, there are glaring red flags that we should be concerned about.
Yes, I suppose when there's this kind of, you'd want elaboration on something like not allowing a shareholders meeting more than just as not legally compliant. I mean, did they forget to put the correct date in? Did they word it wrong? I don't know. Is it something innocent? Could the meeting still be called? Because obviously these things, shareholders call a meeting when they've got concerns. And in fact, they wanted to remove, I think it was 3 directors. So that's quite serious. Obviously that's a big shakeup. So yes, I wouldn't say they're glaring corporate governance issues at the moment. I think a lot of it might have to do with the performance of Quantum. But one would like to see engagement. I think that is very important. If your shareholders want to engage with you, don't fob them off. I mean, engage for Pete's sake. We've seen that there's a value in that as well. So yeah, it does raise hackles for certain people when this kind of stonewalling happens. So let's hope there's a better response, because today you might have noticed Country Bird Holdings, which is another big shareholder in Quantum, they asked for a shareholders meeting as well, and there was no declining of the meeting. So I think this time Quantum might be open to interaction, but we'll have to wait and see.
What I also found interesting here is the fact that, the next place the director could go was the courts. It does kind of tell us a little bit about what happens when there are grievances from board members where shareholders are concerned. Are the courts the only place to go? Marc, it seems so.
Yeah, look, I think for the party in question, I mean, I can't really speak for the director. That's their decision and what they want to do. One would imagine that other shareholders might have been concerned about this if they found out the circumstances. I mean, I'm not sure that they knew about it, but I think if larger shareholders find it, found out Ms. Golding's concerns, they might have said, look, well, we would like an answer from the board. So that might have also been an avenue. But I think the court maybe was the right place to go in this instance. I think it probably needs to be aired publicly. And the court papers make quite fascinating reading, in fact. I don't think all shareholders have got hold of it, but I'm sure people are scurrying to read those documents.
I think a lesson we can all learn here is sometimes the least interesting SENS announcements are possibly the ones that have a bit of a story there. A lesson we can all learn, all of us who do interact with stock exchange news.
Yeah, I think always pay attention, ask the questions. It's like directors' dealings, always look hard at these things and think about them, because they might just be telling a much larger story underneath.
Well, Marc, glad you found this one for us, and we'll keep our ears peeled to Financial Mail as you unpack all of it for us. Thank you for your time. That was Marc Hasenfuss, editor for Financial Mail.